as the captain kind of keeps just her hands on the wheel, steering it ever so slightly, in response to you, Karash, she says, well, I know he came from a ship that he had worked on for several years in the south. Not sure. We haven't had long conversations. I have a little bit of magic at my disposal, and it enables me to talk to him in short bursts. And in those times, I've asked him a bit. He's never opened up a ton about it, but I could tell right away he knew his way around the ship. He took to this like he had worked here for years.
He is odd, but I find him very fascinating. He is clearly quite talented at what he does, if he is managing without being able to speak the language.
She nods. She says, I agree. I take care of most of the orders myself, and he's more of a lead-by-example type, but I've had far worse first mates who could talk, and I'm with you. I'd never seen a tabaxi on a ship before. I don't know if it's just the stereotype or if their people really don't like water overall, but he has never had an issue with just about anything on this ship. For that matter, I've not seen a lot of Blue Dragonborn on ships either, but you also seem to know what you're doing out here on the water.
I found myself picked up by a boat crew, Magdala, years ago, and have been serving since. It is only recently that I joined with these friends to travel across the mainland.
It's kind of a look of familiarity when you mention the name. She says, the Magdala, I've heard of it. Don't know a ton about it. Fiery captain, though, right?
Yes.
Real spitball?
It is, as I have heard, the expression firecracker. Small but fierce.
Well, to run the routes the Magdala does, it would need somebody like that at the helm. Makes sense.
Yes, I am grateful to have been found by them. Working on the boats is perhaps the greatest adventure I have ever experienced.
She says, I have worked with a Blue Dragonborn before.
Do name? May I ask who?
His name was Wargar. It's Worgar. Wargar.
Did he have a clan name?
She says, not that I remember. I only sail with him on a handful of occasions, but I think he takes up residence in Frosthaven. Might be worth a look when you reach the city.
Yes, I have been seeking my family for some time. We were betrayed, and my entire clan was taken and dispersed. Some got away, but the rest have been made slaves, as far as I know.
Is that why you took to the sea then? No place else to call home?
I was trying to escape the slavers when it happened, and the great betrayer. When I was saved by Cord, the god of war and thunder, and I'm gonna pull out my little emblem. I awoke with only this and the scarring you see all over my body.
How mysterious. A god himself. Huh. You see many a mysterious thing out at the sea, but that's one of the stranger tales I've heard.
That is the beauty of the sea, is all of it is mysterious. We do not know what we will find until it is upon us. But I have been seeking my family for some time now, years. I have now found very few of them, but there are so many that went missing still.
Well, Wargar had mentioned that he had heard tell of 2 other Blue Dragonborn in the area, so if you're looking for people, you should seek him out when you reach Frosthaven.
I will do that, thank you. It, it dawns on me. Oh God, what was I going to ask? Mother of love. Oh, is there some sort of mechanism driving the boat other than the sails?
She says, yes, several of the ships over here have installed motors of a sort. It enables us to have something that pushes us forward without having to depend on the wind so much. It's handy because the winds here can change direction pretty quickly at the drop of a hat, and a 2-hour trip becomes a 3-hour one very abruptly. So this is a way to level it out. It's not really strong enough to power the ship entirely on its own, but gives it a nice little gentle push in the right direction, you know?
Yes, but a change in wind is Cord telling us that we have something we need to be patient for.
She nods. She says, well, I don't know if I believe in all that, but hey, I suppose you're a testament to him having some hold over us.
I do not believe he holds any of us. He merely gives commands, and we follow or choose not to.
Mm-hmm. And she's only now realizing the error of her ways.
I'm not trying to be judgy or rude about it.
No, I know, but like... she doesn't know your inclination to take things literally, so she's just now discovering. She's like, oh.
I've done a thing.
Yes, is there any place in Frosthaven that we should visit before we depart that may be good for lodging or provisioning?
She says, your best bet's probably the Powder Keg. It's a tavern and an inn where the majority of people will stay who don't have permanent residence in the city. And whether or not you'll find anyone there, I don't know, but you may find people who will help you with where to start looking. You might also... What was the name of it? The Powder Keg.
The Powder Keg.
See, because powder for snow and keg for booze.
I actually love that. That is fun.
I was proud of myself, and I'm not going to show shame for it. She says, you also might try Every Dog's Day. Provisions there will be useful to you. Your crew is not really dressed for what you're about to face in Frosthaven, and that's the other place I can think of that might have a lot of people coming and going. Perhaps someone there may be of assistance.
Thank you. That is extremely useful. What of the waters around here? Are there much to do, or is it mostly slow going? I see you are equipped for battle, but I have not seen any or heard word of difficulties in this area.
Shakes her head. She says, no, it's been quiet out here the last couple of years. Occasionally, someone gets the bright idea to try and come and take some of our cargo, because we do bring goods out to Frosthaven on occasion. But we quickly tell them that that's not the best idea. For the most part, it's quiet out here. Nobody really wants to spend time in Frosthaven unless they like being a loner or they enjoy being cold.
Would Karash also like to know her hobbies, maybe favorite color?
I'm on a boat talking to a captain.
Favorite food.
Yeah, Karash, how dare you have a conversation more than 3 minutes for once?
Yeah.
Let's talk more about Faust Trident.
I'm in my element. Yeah, no, I'm going to ask her about her hobbies.
Sorry. Not hurt or anything.
No. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh,
sorry.
just to say. She says, well, I mostly do this, I suppose. Used to enjoy painting a bit on the side. Haven't done it a lot in the last decade.
Yes, I'm going to... I love that for some reason.
If you can do what you love and love what you do...
You'll never work a day in your life or something? I don't remember. Yeah, no, I'm gonna... I can't think of anything else I need. No, I'm good. I'm gonna just say my goodbyes and go back to work.
Okay. Yeah, she can't let you slouch off for too long or you won't earn your keep. All right.
Fair enough.
As you guys are sailing off, you can kind of quickly see Fort Cross sort of fading from view on the horizon behind you. It is certainly still visible, and you get the sense that it probably still will be even from Frosthaven itself, but it starts to shrink in size a bit. And looking forward, you see what appears to be some kind of like relatively spread out city. Most of the places you've visited on your journey so far have been a lot more tightly packed, especially cities like Falstock, certainly Lycidian, where everything is as dense as possible to cram as many people in because they're very heavily populated. The size of this city as you're approaching it tells you that at the very least there's a decent amount of people living here, but they are very spread out. You can see houses sort of dotting the landscape as you get a closer look at the city and maybe get within an hour away. Apparently you can get land here if you want it, but what do you do with that land? Because the only other thing you see from this distance is white. A lot of white. The town itself seems to be blanketed in snow, and again, you can just sort of see these plains off to the east of the city, just white. All white. In the distance, you can also see that it appears the further north you go, there's some kind of mountain range on the backside of the peninsula. Can't make out a lot of details from this distance. But that appears to be Frosthaven. You guys have a bit of time on the ship. Anything in particular you would like to do?
Stay sane, I guess. Not throw up a ton. Make sure everyone stays safe. Isaac's all tuckered out. He's been a sleepy boy, you know. Just kind of hold down the fort, basically, until we get there. Doesn't really feel like everyone's in a position to be doing anything adventurous, so.
Yeah. I would consider going down to check on the horses, but I'm not feeling too hot myself, so I might just hang out.
And you get the sense, you don't know this until you try it for certain, but you feel like, at the very least, you're sort of kind of connected to nature out here. You feel like cargo hold's going to be worse. If you're in a box on the sea as it swirls all over the place, doesn't feel like that's going to be a good choice.
Yeah, not great.
Karash, I will have you make a performance check, unless you can think of a more appropriate one for what you're doing on the ship. I'm trying to lean into your strengths here, so like I don't really want to go dex.
Oh, it's no. I have proficiency in what's it called? So I just roll plus my proficiency in what's it called? Boats, not boats, but sea vehicles.
Okay.
Like that's straight up a thing. So I would just roll.
Do that.
+3. Okay, so.
With advantage.
Okay. Where'd my thing go?
I don't know.
So 14.
Okay. You struggle only a little bit because it is unfamiliar. You got to wander around the ship and at least get yourself the bare necessities, but it's not quite the one that you worked on for the 2 years that you did. But overall, you're still able to chip in, help out quite a bit, pull that rope here, check that sail there, etc., boating things. To where you definitely feel like you're helping out. It feels like you are earning your keep, and the other crew are cognizant of that. That they're, as you work with them or off on your own tasks as they direct you or as the captain directs you. It also just feels familiar, which is nice because a lot of this journey has been an exercise in unfamiliar. This is something you pick back up, and yeah, there's a slight learning curve to the new ship, but other than that, you kind of fall into an old rhythm in a way that you haven't felt really since you've been on the mainland, because every city is full of new experiences, new things, new people. This is comforting in the fact that it is familiar. Another 45 minutes or so passes, and the ship starts to pull up to what appears to be another small harbor on the exterior of Frosthaven. Karash, you're able to help work with the crew to help. Once it starts to pull towards the dock, they lower the anchor, they tie things off, they lower the sails. You're able to kind of chip in with that part of the experience. And you guys dock, and for Lena, blessedly finally stop moving at the docks of Frosthaven. Captain comes down from her perch, approaches you, Karash, says, "Well, you weren't kidding. You know your stuff. I can see you must have been a good hand for the Magdola."
I do my best for whomever I serve.
She reaches into another one of the pouches at her belt, hands you 20 gold.
Very nice.
Okay, you
20
beat up
gold.
for Isaac, not doing a damn thing.
This was not the agreed upon price, Captain.
Well, not that I doubted you necessarily, but I wasn't sure what to expect. You more than carried your weight, and hell, it was nice to talk to somebody else with experience, and your other companions seemed delightful. I hope your other friend isn't feeling too sick, but hell, put it towards some warm clothes. You're going to need them. And you can tell, by the way, as you've pulled in, you are no longer comfortable. It was already starting to feel that way over the last 20 or 30 minutes. Once you started to really get close to the peninsula itself, out at sea, it seems like the air was at least able to fend it off to some extent. But now that you've reached port, you all, except maybe Karash, who's a little more used to some of the cold, are pretty much just shivering at this point.
I'm grinning like an idiot because the snow is very exciting, but I'm also shivering.
And there is some of it falling. The last couple of minutes or so as you came into the port, you could start seeing flakes just kind of lightly falling. Nothing heavy yet.
What's like the temperature?
At this point, you're probably looking at like 20, 25 degrees.
Oh, I'm fine in my little cloak.
Fahrenheit. For our worldwide viewers.
There you go. I'm gonna.
That sounds like
say,
a lovely summer day. No, it's not Celsius. Get out.
There you go. I'm gonna say goodbye to the captain and lots of pleasantries. See you when I get back. We should get a beer sometime. Chill, that sort of thing.
She kind of gives you a green nod. Taryn comes over, gives you a firm handshake as well.
Lots of heavy eye contact and respectful salutes all around.
A knowing nod as well, kind of like a you did good. And they basically lower the plank to reach the dock, and you guys are free to disembark if you would like to.
We retrieve our horses and cart,
Yep.
and
I'm
we're
gonna I was gonna try and get Isaac out without waking him up, and try and put him in the cart as quietly as we can.
just like put
Yep.
him up on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Carry him over.
Make an athletics check,
Sweet.
and Isaac, make what's your passive perception?
16.
Okay.
21.
Particularly because you're so familiar with boats, you are able to pick up Isaac gently enough, which isn't exactly your forte, but you're at least strong enough that you can do it. And he stirs briefly as you kind of put him over your shoulder, but it does seem like you're able to load him onto the cart without waking him.
Good.
And I'm also going to stop and look up to the heavens and thank Cord for a safe journey across the water.
And he's like, "No problem, bro."
Bro fist.
And the outline of Mufasa appears in the clouds.
Justin's just sort of got his, his cloak. It's getting a little chilly.
Yeah, they say
Yeah.
you have a handful of other garments that you can sort of use to take off the worst of the stinging cold, but none of it is really intended for this type of climb.
Well, I think we should go down to get some things.
Where's the
Tessian is a baby. Stinging 25 degrees.
It's kind of tropical out where
Dang,
he comes
yeah,
from.
Yeah.
he's used to warmer climates in Black Harbor.
Yeah.
Yep, it's pretty warm down there. Not like oppressively so, but it definitely doesn't get winter.
And we get like the mist. There's humidity. Like it's a little
Yeah, you'll
sticky.
get some fog and some mist and stuff, but snow down there? No, sir.
Not. That's
Yeah,
not
I come from a no shirts, no shoes, no problem kind of a climate, so this is not thrilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're not as uncomfortable. You're a little more built for this type of weather, but you're still not. It's not comfortable by any means. You're not like
Yeah.
you're not feeling great.
Yeah.
No.
Tessian's over here doing the. I think I can do it. I'm almost positive. You can use prestidigitation to warm something. Oh no, not that.
Oh no.
No, there we go.
What
So
have you
many
done?
rolls.
Look, Look, they changed Roll 20. I'm sorry for all the people in the audience that can't see what the heck y'all complaining about.
Yeah, I thought about putting that on the screen. It's just so boring. It's not worth the real estate.
You can chill, warm, or flavor 1 cubic foot of non-living material. My clothes are non-living, so I can just sort of warm them. It's sort of like...
You can warm your chest and the arms will take care of the rest.
Exactly. I could just be like, this cloak is cold. Now it's a warm cloak, you know?
Yeah, and it helps too,
but it's like not...
It's better than nothing. It takes the shiver away, but you're still cold.
Yeah, we need to... I suggest we find a place, and we're going to do that. We are going to find the first place that looks like a general store or an attire place to sell this junk.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's
Sorry.
fine. You go ahead.
I was going to say, and I'll look out for the 2 places that were suggested, the Powder Keg and the Every Dog's Day.
One of the things you're finding pretty quickly is a lot of the houses here are relatively small, not tiny, but there's not, these big multi-story cavernous houses around here.
Cheaper to heat.
Yep, that's one of the reasons. Also, what you're noticing as you look around is this is not a hovel. It's not poor, but people of affluence clearly have chosen much nicer places to live.
Oh, 100%.
And as you're kind of just making your way into the first part of the city near the docks, there are a handful of other folks walking about, but for the most part, you're kind of quickly picking up on the fact that unless somebody has a reason to go out, they're not typically doing it. They're not just wandering the streets to have a nice stroll or to, walk with their significant other or whatever. It's you're walking to a place or you're staying the fuck inside.
Okay.
You're able to ask a couple of passersby pretty quickly, though. Karash, you already have an idea where it is. So you're able to ask them the name of the establishment. And they point you in the direction of a place that does sort of stick out because it's much bigger than most of the surrounding houses. Maybe only a 5-minute walk from the docks. It's relatively close on that side of the town. That's the Powder Keg. It's the closest establishment that might give you a chance to get in from the cold. And they point you in that direction with relative ease.
All right.
Where we go?
You guys make your way to what appears to be one of the few second-story buildings in the area. You've stayed in some inns that were like 5-6 at this point. This is far bigger by comparison, but still relatively small compared to some of the other places you've stayed. And as you quickly secure the horses outside and step in, and the horses are going to die, by the way.
Excuse you?
Well, not in an hour, but
We need to put them in a barn.
I probably wouldn't leave them out overnight.
Yeah.
Just to warn you. But they can stay outside for a minute while you go inside and get the lay of the land.
Get some horse sickles.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue Sleepy Time Isaac here if I can.
Okay. So you bring him inside. Inside, you see a roaring large fireplace near
Oh, it's going to go warm my hands,
a dining area with a mantle there as well. But as you're stepping inside, while you can definitely feel that as like the main source of heat, one of the things you notice is it's not just the fireplace giving off warmth. Like, it's definitely warmer as you go towards it. It's not like it's fake or something, but like, given the temperatures outside and the fact that there are, multiple stories and a whole room that goes across away from it, it feels like there's something else providing heat for the building. You're not entirely sure what, but you can just kind of tell, like, it's not like you walk in and you feel like this side of your face is super hot and this side is freezing. There's something else in the air regulating the climate in here to some extent.
Magical heat.
There are several stone tables set up throughout this area, seemingly nice and flat on top. Somebody with decent craftsmanship has worked on the top of them. Each appears to have its own small fire pit underneath, and seems to be the reason for the stone construction, because if it was wood, it would light on fire. And while there is a bar, there are no stools in front of it. It seems that the patrons that come here, and it is relatively busy here in the afternoon, it's like 5 o'clock or so as you have a major arrival. The patrons here are all quite content to sit at these tables with the fire pits underneath and keep warm. And as such, nobody seemed to want to sit at the bar in the first place. And that seems to be why they would have removed any stools that were there to begin with.
It's like a stone kotatsu, or whatever those things are called.
Yeah.
The Japanese table thing.
Yeah, the things in Persona every
Let's not
single
talk
winter.
about those. But yes, that's kind of what it is. There's no curtain to keep the warmth underneath.
Okay.
The fire pit's more exposed. But otherwise, yeah, kind of. Okay. Same idea. There is a tall male human at the bar, curly blonde hair, easygoing smile. He seems to be fulfilling another customer's drink order as you guys walk in. And beyond that, there's not like any other front desk or any other person that sticks out as maybe the person to talk to here.
Guess we'll approach him and give the usual, hello, we're new in town. We're looking for a place to purchase some amenities and supplies to keep us warm here.
Someone get winter clothing for Isaac too, please. Not because he really needs it, I don't think, but just so when someone makes like drawings of us, we have like our winter gear version.
Yeah.
Sounds like someone should have thought about that before they fell asleep.
That's really just what I want.
I was going to make sure we got winter stuff for you. So
yeah, no, we're not going to let you freeze to death out there. That's a liability.
I'm gonna freeze to death. I have a nice cloak.
You might regret those words. He shakes your hand, Tessian. Not Isaac. Isaac's sleeping. He does not shake Isaac's hand.
Just do like a weekend at Bernie's with Isaac. And
Yeah.
Just sleep the whole
Brr, brr, brr,
time.
brr, brr, brr. Shakes your hand, says, "Well, welcome, Thomas Stoutman. Pleasure to meet you. What in the world are you doing out here?"
My companion here, and I don't know, Pat Lana, pointer, I don't know where she is.
I'm next to you. I'm here.
Hello.
Oh,
Ooh.
Is on a bit of a journey. It's a thing known as the Conatus. An old elven ritual, a journey of sorts. We're looking for what would we call it? A shrine? A shrine. We're looking for an old shrine, actually, out here on this continent. This isn't the first time that someone has gone on this journey and visited it. So not only are we looking for any supplies to help us get there, but any information you may have on previous journeys, if there's anyone here in Frosthaven that might be aware of it, we'd certainly appreciate being pointed in that direction.
says, "Oh, the Conatus. I think my grandfather mentioned something about that. Don't remember a whole lot about it, but it did sound like he always mentioned somebody coming through here for it at one point. It's been so long, I'm sort of surprised, but he said it was pretty rare, I guess."
Yes, the last one was, what was it, like 70 years ago, 80 years? I don't remember. Am I pulling out a number out of my butt?
I
That
feel
sounds like something Annetta might have told you.
Okay.
I think so.
List about how many years ago it would have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I guess that sounds about right then, yes. And would have been around when he was running this establishment. Huh, well, from what I understand, you're going to be heading east somewhere, and yeah, you're going to want some more provisions than you have on right now. Place to go is Every Dog's Day. They'll have all sorts of heavier clothing that you can wear, but I'd recommend on stopping out. If you think it's cold here, you're not going to like what you find heading east.
Delightful. The weather up here, better to travel during the day, I take it, not at night?
Yeah, the sun helps as much as it can. It won't exactly be called warm, but it's a better alternative to the nights where you won't find people milling about this town much at all at night unless they absolutely have to. The air just feels like it has an extra chill in the evening.
Why are we here? This is the tavern, right?
Yeah.
An inn. Yeah.
Tavern Inn.
This is the inn as well.
Tavern and
okay.
an inn, yes.
Yeah.
Then yes. Well, we're looking to spend the night here then. Before we head out tomorrow, if you have any rooms available.
Says, well, it's the nice thing about being way out here in the middle of nowhere is we always have at least a few rooms available. It'll be 4 gold apiece, but you will get a nice warm meal out of it.
Sure. And I pay the nice man.
Okay, so 16 total. More expensive because more remote.
Man's got to make his money.
Gotta survive somehow in this harsh, unrelenting.
Oh, I'll give you the
Tundra.
20 gold that I got too.
Oh, will you?
Yeah.
Cool. Then I'm just paying with that, so I don't have to do as much math.
Yeah, so you get +4 then.
Yep.
+4 gold. Gives you a couple of room keys. Says, usually we have food around 6 to 8 or so. So stop by if you'd like. Certainly don't have to, but it's included. And I'd recommend getting over to the general store sooner than later. They'll accept customers later, but again, don't think you're going to want to be out there without clothing when that sun goes down here in a couple of hours.
I we will take you on your advice. Gosh, I mean, we've paid. We've got the room keys. Honestly, we're just gonna kind of head over there. Thinking.
Yep.
Put Sleepy Time Isaac to bed and put a key in his pocket and lock the door behind me.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. You guys are gonna head to the general store then?
Yeah. No.
Heading back outside is unpleasant, especially having had a chance to warm yourself because you sort of got eased into the cold and by nature of the journey over, and the sea air was kind of chilly as well, so it got a little bit worse, and you kind of got acclimated to it. So going into the warmth for a while and then stepping back outside is one of those like, damn it, right, I'd kind of forgotten.
Yep.
I'm going to look around and see if there isn't like a barn or some kind of overhead thing for the horses and the wagon, since we're going to be staying over for the night, so they don't freeze to death. Is there
we
anything
forgot to ask.
near the inn or?
You can always go back in and ask.
Okay, I'm
too.
going to go back in and
Yep.
ask. Actually.
Yeah, the NPC is still there. He didn't just like Thanos
Disappear.
snap.
He's
Like,
doing his like clean the bar animation still. He's still there.
Yeah.
he looks
Hello,
up
what
and,
can I do for you?
What are you doing out? What the hell are you doing out here? He says.
It's the same thing, the same
It's his
line.
same opening line. Yeah, it's basically we're still in from Jumanji.
Yes.
Welcome to Jumanji. You go back inside, talk to Thomas, says, they should have a place to put up beasts of that nature up by the general store. I would take them with you as you head over.
Okay.
Not something that happens a ton, but they should have something to at least make sure they're out of the worst of the cold.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And you guys make your way over to the general store. He tells you where it's at. Takes about 10 minutes. It would probably be less than that, but it just feels like it's slow going. The horses are not struggling. They're okay, but they're not having the best of times. And also the ground is a little slippery. One of the things you notice is that the cobblestone that makes up the paths throughout the city is relatively clear.
Okay.
Some of the snow that's still falling is kind of dotting it in places, but it seems like they have some kind of mechanism in place to at least help with the major roads. Everything off to the side is pretty well covered in at least a foot of snow.
If you like touch the ground, is it kind of warm or cold or?
It's still really cold. You're not entirely sure if this is something magical or somebody that goes around and does it, but it does seem like it's at least kept to the point where you can travel without too much difficulty. You have to go a little slower because there is the fear of slipping in certain spots, but not too bad overall. You make your way to it's essentially almost on the eastern side of town. The Powder Cake's more southeast. This kind of takes you north and a little bit more east. And what you see is that while the other streets are lit with the occasional lantern and or magical mechanism like there was in Falstock, this street in particular is well lit as it goes west and east through the city. And to the east, there is a much more regular-sized wall with a couple of guard towers posted on it. And you can tell that as you see the general store approaching, as you ride up to it, that the guard tower has like a line of sight on it, and it's well lit to where it seems to be like this is the main thoroughfare of Frosthaven of sorts. And they also seem to be protected against threats from the east. They did not have a whole lot. There was a couple of guards milling about at the docks, but didn't seem like that was where issues came from. Seems like things might come from the east, though.
Wow, delightful.
You see a pretty big single-story building with... Well, you can make out some specks of brown shingles on the roof that are mostly covered in snow. And outside, the sign does say Every Dog's Day. And as you presumably step inside, on the inside you can see there appear to be several recent shipping crates stacked in one of the corners, possibly from the ship you were on. There are multiple planter boxes on the walls. There is actually a handful of like flowers and other plants kept inside of here. Temperature is amenable. Seems like they can at least keep it to where it's like, well, if we can't have plants grow outside, at least we can keep a few in here with seeds and the like. And there's a handful of beaded gems hanging from the rafters of this vaulted ceiling, probably about 10 feet above your head, not within reach, but they create this kind of like lighting effect where there's it's not a disco ball, but vaguely kind of shines and sparkles in the area. Looks fancy. There's also, as you step inside, a medium-sized kind of black and gray husky that skips over in your direction
Oh my god, yes.
and greets you as you enter.
I totally start petting this dog and talking to him, and I kind of ignore everything else for the
I'm
moment.
just gonna let you handle the dog.
Yes.
I'm gonna go up to the front desk.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the front, at the counter, you see a female human with flawless bronzed skin, thick but well-kept brown hair, pretty nice robes, but unlike some of the robes that you've become accustomed to with those who are wealthy, like nobles in particular, these are heavier. Not like super heavy because she'd probably just like be sweltering inside, but still you can tell like it's meant for sturdier stuff outside as well. It's not just this thin, like really nice. It's functional basically.
Yeah.
And she kind of looks up at you as you approach and says, "Welcome, welcome. What are you in the market for?"
We're looking to warm ourselves up a little bit. Stock up on warmer clothing, more suited for this climb.
She says, "Well, I understand. Makes sense given what you're wearing." And she kind of gestures over her shoulder. There are a variety of parkas and other winter outfits that you can see would be useful for this type of occasion. There are some more heavy-duty boots, both with an inner lining for padding and better traction underneath on the soles.
Okay.
Some heavier pants as well, like the ones your parents used to put you in when you were a kid and you'd fall over and not be able to get up. That They're well insulated on the inside, but also not the easiest to move around in. Hats with ear laps to cover and protect from the coldest of the conditions. Some scarves. So depending on what you want, it'll probably run you a certain price, but
I pick character appropriate costume pieces for everyone.
okay. Isaac included, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So like his is obviously really dark and black, whatever the darkest things they have. If it looks emo, we're buying it.
And it's a mask with fleece lining on the inside.
Of course.
Yes.
A replica of the Vigilante's mask from the Vigilante line of winter apparel, and Lena will get her some really nice green
North Face.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's got the good elven stitching in it or some nonsense. I don't know. Tessian gets his usual kind of sea greeny, gray nonsense. I don't know.
Okay. There's enough selection that's easy to do. The downside is because they're in demand, the cost is a little higher than you might hope. The plus side is they are frequently selling these, so it's not like it's a short supply and high demand. So for 4 sets of head-to-toe winter stuff, that is going to run you 80 gold.
Easy.
It is. You can tell though it is well made. Like the craftsmanship is like kiss fingertips good. It is not shoddy stuff that's barely holding together and has holes in it. You're going to feel the cold in. Like it is well made, high quality apparel.
Is there anything else we might need for traveling outside of the city?
I suppose that depends on which direction you're heading.
Let me look at Lena.
She looks up from the dog.
Yeah, I do. I'm here now again.
Hey.
We're going like northeast, I think. But the guy did say east
I
from
think
here.
we are heading east because we are now north.
Okay, yeah. So I think we're going.
You may be able to
east.
tell when you meditate tonight.
Yeah,
but
that is kind of my
east
thought
or
as
northeast,
well.
somewhere in that direction.
Thereabouts. So I kind of relay as such. If we're going in that general direction.
She says, "I'll tell you what, since you've been good customers," and she hands you these somewhat different looking water skins. She says, "These are insulated so that you can keep water without it freezing. Most run-of-the-mill water skins and flasks aren't made to hold up to the conditions you're going to find out there, and these should at least keep your water supply intact because... let me tell you, you're going to need it. It's going to seem like one of the worst things in the world to drink cold water when you're out there, but you absolutely have to."
Would you suggest anything else for the horses, or can we even take them out in the snow?
It will be difficult for them, but it is probably better than walking yourself. I would expect that you're going to need to have ways to make fire, and you're going to have to try and find shelter when you can, because it's going to be slow going. The winds out there are harsher than they are in the city, and a lot of people head out there. They think they're prepared, and they have made steps to prepare, and they still underestimate what they're going to face. Below zero temperatures, harsh wind. So an ability to make fire will be important. Keep yourself dressed well, and arm yourselves.
For what?
For all sorts of nasty creatures out there, ones that don't mind the temperatures so much. It's one of the reasons they have guards posted on the east side of the city, is to make sure that none of them try and enter the city itself.